There's a moment, not marked by fireworks, not witnessed by crowds, but felt in the quiet fire of your chest, when you finally decide you're done negotiating with fear, you're done flirting with potential, you're done watching life from the sidelines while your calling grows cold. And in that moment, when your soul screams enough, something ancient awakens inside you. Not hope, not luck, not talent, a made-up mind. And once it's made, nothing on this earth can unmake it. There comes a moment in every life where the noise must stop. Outside voices, distractions, doubts, and endless opinions must all be silenced. Because in that stillness, something ancient begins to stir, a force more powerful than talent, more unstoppable than opportunity, and more permanent than motivation. It is the made-up mind. History does not remember the lukewarm. It does not carve statues of the hesitant or write songs about the easily swayed. No history remembers those who decided, who drew a line in the sand and declared, "This is who I am. This is where I go. And no man, no fear, no setback will turn me back." You can call it an obsession. You can call it madness. But what it is clarity. The kind of clarity turned a poor boy named Thomas Edison, who was told he was too stupid to learn, into the most prolific inventor the world has ever known. The kind of clarity that lifted a quiet, bookish man like Abraham Lincoln from a dirt-floor log cabin to the highest seat of power in the middle of a civil war. The kind of clarity that allowed Helen Keller, born deaf and blind, to reshape the world's definition of what is possible. They were not the smartest, wealthiest, or most privileged, but had something rarer and valuable. They had made up their minds. And when a mind is made up, it begins to move the world around it. Most people never reach that point. They live in a fog, drifting between half decisions and delayed dreams, waiting for the perfect moment, the ideal plan, the ideal sign. They say, maybe someday, not realizing that someday is a lie dressed in comfort. But the made-up mind doesn't wait. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't need guarantees. It sees the mountain ahead and starts climbing even if the summit is hidden in clouds, because it knows that clarity of purpose is more important than certainty of outcome. You see, success has never been about resources. It has always been about resourcefulness. It is not about what you have, but how relentlessly you use what you got. And when the mind is made up, the soul becomes a furnace, a blazing engine that converts pain into fuel, failure into data, and rejection into redirection. The world bends not to the powerful. It turns to the committed. You don't need to be handed a destiny. You create one, with thought, with action, with discipline. The greatest empires of the mind, innovation, revolution, and breakthrough were not in the hands, but in the heart, and with one silent decision. Think of Carnegie, who, as a penniless immigrant, saw steel not as metal, but as a vision of an industrial America. He decided, and then he executed not perfectly, not easily, but completely. Think of Ford, who ignored "it can't be done," and revolutionized how the world moves, not because he had the tools, but because he had the mind to build them. The made-up mind makes the impossible rearrange itself. You don't beg life to change, you command it. Not with arrogance, but with alignment, when every fiber of your being is in sync with the outcome you've already decided is yours. You show up every day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because your mind is no longer bargaining with life. It's locked in. It's non-negotiable. That's the difference between a wish and a decision. Wishes hope for the wind to blow right. Decisions adjust their sails. You've been taught to be careful, to keep your options open. But the made-up mind is dangerous because it burns the bridges. It refuses to retreat. It is all in because anything less guarantees mediocrity. And mediocrity is not the enemy of greatness. It's the graveyard of it. Your life is not a rehearsal. It's the only script you get. And every moment you delay the decision, every time you flirt with your calling but don't commit, you write another page of regret. But when your mind is made up, the world feels it. People sense it. Circumstances shift around it. And fear evaporates in the presence of a soul that has declared its direction. So if you're waiting for a sign, let this be it. You don't need more time. You need more certainty. You don't need more motivation. You need more decisions. You don't need another plan. You need a made-up mind. Once that decision is truly made, your identity and habits change. Your language changes. You stop saying, "I hope," and start saying, "I will." You stop searching for shortcuts and start seeking struggle because you understand that struggle is the soil in which greatness grows. When that mindset takes root, you become dangerous to everything average because average cannot survive in the heat of unwavering resolve. No more half measures. No more back doors. No more plan B. Burn the ships. This is the life you've chosen. This is the mountain you'll climb. Not because it's easy. Not because it's guaranteed. But because your soul said yes. And that yes was final. The path won't applaud you. The crowds won't cheer for you in the early miles. Most won't even understand you because they haven't made that decision. They've settled. They've made peace with average. They've convinced themselves that ambition is dangerous, that certainty is arrogance, and dreaming too big is a setup for disappointment. But the made-up mind doesn't operate by their rules. It doesn't shrink to fit the comfort zones of the people around it. It doesn't ask, "What if I fail? What if I never try?" There's a reason why so few reach their true potential. It's not because they lack ability. It's because they lack the courage to commit. Because commitment costs. It costs you excuses. It costs your comfort. It costs the right to blame others when things don't go your way. But it's also the only currency that buys transformation. You can have excuses, or you can have results, but never both. And that is the raw power of a made-up mind. It stops entertaining the debate. It doesn't wait for the fear to go away. It acts despite it. It doesn't avoid failure. It confronts it, stares it in the face, and learns to use it. Think about that. What if the only thing standing between who you are and who you could become, is it a single, all-consuming decision? Not a New Year's resolution. Not a motivational high. A real decision, one so deep it rewires your very sense of identity. When your mind is made up, you stop trying to become something and start being it. You don't try to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You don't try to be focused. You are focused. You don't wait for clarity. You move with conviction, and clarity begins to follow. That's how you separate yourself, not by chasing perfection, but by choosing consistency. Day after day, hour after hour, brick by brick, you build something unshakable. And it's in those quiet, lonely repetitions that your power is forged when no one's watching, clapping, or validating you. This is where the weak minds quit. This is where the undisciplined fold. This is where the excuses pile up, and the maybe-laters win, but not you, because your mind is no longer available for negotiation. You don't have time to be distracted by every shiny object. You don't have space for toxic people who don't share your vision. You don't have patience for the old version of yourself that tolerated less than what you were born for. The made-up mind draws a line, and that line is sacred. That line says, "I don't go back to who I used to be. I don't apologize for how big I think. I don't explain my fire to those who never felt a spark. This world will test you. It will push back. It will tempt you with easier paths, quicker wins, and the applause of the mediocre. But the made-up mind is immune to seduction because it's not fueled by attention. It's not powered by approval. It's driven by something more profound. a vision that demands fulfillment. You see it so clearly in your mind that you don't need others to see it yet. You don't need proof, because the belief is enough. You don't need guarantees, because your commitment is the guarantee. And while others are still asking for signs, you're building the outcome. While they sleep in, you rise early. While they scroll, you study. While they doubt, you act, because you understand. The future doesn't belong to the realistic. It belongs to the relentless. Every great story was written by someone who refused to turn the page until they finished the chapter they chose to write. So if you feel like giving up, that's good. That means you're close. That means the old version of you is dying. And that's precisely what needs to happen, because the power you seek is already inside you. It's just waiting for you to stop wavering and decide. Not halfway. Not kinda. Not. When things get easier. Now. You are not born to tiptoe through life hoping to arrive safely at death. You are not created to be invisible, forgettable, or average. You are designed to build for impact, for fire, for greatness. But the door to that greatness is locked from the inside. And the only key is decision. The decision to stop letting the world tell you who you are. The decision to stop giving temporary feelings permanent power. The decision to rise, not because it's easy, but because you can. When your mind is made up, your body follows. Your habits align. Your focus sharpens. You start walking with a different posture, not arrogance, but authority, because you've decided to no longer live from the outside in. You've chosen to live from the inside out. And that choice, that internal commitment, makes you a threat to every excuse, to every doubt, to every pattern of self-sabotage that once held you back. See, the world wants you distracted, wants you chasing applause instead of purpose, wants you comparing, conforming, consuming, not creating. But the made-up mind sees through the illusion. Algorithms do not move it. Trends do not seduce it. It is grounded in mission. That's why discipline isn't a punishment. It's a passport. It's not a restriction. It's liberation. It's not what you can't do. It's what you've chosen to focus on. Because you've seen where the undisciplined mind leads. It leads to regret, to settling, to waking up in a life that looks nothing like what you once dreamed. But not anymore. From now on, you choose the hard road because it's right. You sacrifice ease for elevation. You sacrifice comfort for clarity. You sacrifice now for what's next. Because you know what average people forget. That your future is constantly being traded for something. You're either investing it in growth or spending it on distraction. The made-up mind doesn't chase dopamine. It chases destiny. And while others are addicted to feeling good, you become addicted to becoming great. You crave the work. You embrace the sweat. You fall in love with the process because you know that's where champions are made. Not in the spotlight, not in the highlight reels, but in the dark, HT's just you, your grit, and the voice that says, keep going. There's no crowd in the gym at 5 a.m. There's no cheer squad when you say no to distractions. There's no parade for choosing the disciplined life. But the result will speak so loudly one day they won't need to, because the made-up mind is patient. It understands that harvest follows hustle. It doesn't rush, but it refuses to quit. So while others chase what's trending, you build what's timeless. While they post, you prepare. While they wish, you work. And that's why they'll watch while you rise. This is not about ego. It's about obedience to the call within you. The call that whispers, there is more. The call that refuses to die, no matter how many times you've been knocked down. Because it's not just about winning. It's about becoming. Becoming the person you are always meant to be. Before the fear, doubt, and world told you to shrink, the made-up mind returns you to that version of yourself, the bold one, the one who used to dream without apology, the one who believed before life taught you to settle. And here's the truth no one tells you. That version of you, they never left. They've just been waiting for you to decide to wake up, to rise. Finally, claim the life already yours if you're willing to fight for it. So fight, not just against the world, but against every excuse you've ever used to play small. Fight for your future. Fight for your legacy. Fight with the calm, steady rage of someone who has already decided. I will not die with my music still in me. You don't need more time. You need to become the kind of person who makes time obey. You need to wake up with fire in your bones and a storm behind your eyes. Because when your identity is forged in decision, not emotion, you no longer wonder what to do. You already know. A made-up mind doesn't chase clarity. It creates it. With a vision that cuts through fog. With action that builds while others wait. With focus so fierce, even fear takes a step back. You are no longer a question mark. You are an exclamation. You don't ask, what will they think? You ask, what will they remember? Because a made-up mind is not content with survival. It demands legacy, not for fame, not for applause, but because the world is starving for examples. And someone, somewhere, is watching how you move. Someone who needs to see that it's possible, that greatness is not reserved for the chosen, it's claimed by the committed. So you stop trying to convince people. You stop trying to be understood. You stop trying to be liked by those still sleeping while you are busy building. Let them misunderstand your silence. Let them mock your intensity. Let them laugh until they can't ignore what you built. Because soon, the same people who doubted you will say they always believed. But by then, it won't matter, because you won't need their belief. You never did. All you needed was your own. The made-up mind is the most dangerous weapon on earth. It cannot be bought. It cannot be distracted. And it cannot be stopped. It is the birthplace of revolutions. It is the soil where miracles grow. It is the force that toppled empires, raised nations, cured disease, invented light, crossed oceans, and rewrote history. And it is already inside you. The question is, will you unlock it? Will you stop flirting with greatness and finally marry it? Will you stop dipping your toe in purpose and dive headfirst into it? No more waiting. No more. When I'm ready, you don't get ready. You decide, and readiness follows. You act like the person you want to become long before you feel like it. You walk like you belong in the room long before they know your name. You leave like it's already yours, because it is. A made-up mind doesn't dwell in doubt. It speaks in declarations. I will rise. I will build. I will conquer. I will become the version of me that I was born to be. Not someday. Not when it's easy. Not when others approve. Now. You will not drift. You will not fade. You will not end this life wondering what could have been, because you have tasted the agony of almost. You've lived in the gray of indecision. You carry the weight of dreams delayed. And now you're done. You've made the call. You've burned the bridge. You've broken the chains. This is not a comeback. This is a beginning. Not to chase what the world calls success, but to live the truth that's been buried inside you all along. That you are always enough. That you are always capable. You would have been chosen if you had only decided back then. And now you have. The mind is made. The heart is aligned. The mission is clear. No more looking back. No more asking for directions from those who've never been where you're going. From this point forward, the path is yours to make. And whether it's paved with fire, stone, or silence, you will walk it with power. Because once a mind is made up, no force on earth can unmake it. You are not chasing a dream. You are becoming one. Let that sink in. You're not here to fit in. You're here to ignite. To stand so firm in who you are that you make the uncertain certain, that you walk into every room with the energy of a decision already made, not loud but undeniable, not arrogant but unshakable, because power doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just shows up every single day without fail. The made-up mind doesn't check the forecast. It doesn't ask the wind if today's a good day to rise. It builds anyway. It trains anyway. It shows up anyway, because the made-up mind doesn't need conditions. It creates them. And in a world of unfinished plans, halfway commitments, and broken promises, you become rare. A soul that's not just lit, but locked in. You become the person others look to when the storm hits, because while the world was panicking, you were preparing. While they waited for the right time, you were making time irrelevant. While they were hoping, you were deciding. And this is what separates leaders from followers. This is what separates history makers from history watchers. This is what separates the few from the many. The many react. The few resolve. And your resolve will be tested. Oh, it will be tested. But when that moment comes when your knees shake, when your hands tremble, when everything in you screams to turn back, you will remember. Your mind is already made. You chose this. Not for the ease, not for the comfort, but because you are done living beneath your potential. You are done waiting for the world to validate what God already put in you. You are done hoping for confidence to show up, and instead, you created it through courage. The made-up mind doesn't just chase goals. It becomes them. It breathes them. It bleeds for them. And in doing so, it transcends every excuse, every failure, every fear. This is how legends are made. Not overnight. Not from talent. Not from luck. But from one soul who decides, I will not break. I will not bend. I will not bow. And even when I do fall, I will rise. Smarter, sharper, stronger, because I have chosen the fire. And those who choose the fire become it. So now, stand in the mirror and say it loud enough for your past to hear. This is the last day I play small. This is the last day I doubt my worth. This is the last day I walk through life undecided. I am no longer available for average. I am no longer accepting delays, distractions, or doubts. I am made up. I am moved. I am becoming. I am here, not to try, not to hope, but to build. And brick by brick, with blood in my knuckles and steel in my spine, I will construct an undeniable life that the world will never again ask if I was serious. They will know, because the most dangerous force on earth is not a weapon. It is not an army. It is not even time. It is a human being with a made-up mind. So what now? What do you do with a mind like this? A mind that no longer negotiates. A mind that no longer flinches at difficulty or shrinks in the presence of pressure. You build. You build in silence while others boast. You build in faith while others fear. You build with scars on your back and a vision in your chest that refuses to die. And you keep building, even when you're tired, even when it's thankless, even when no one claps. Because your reward isn't applause, it's becoming. The man who doesn't fold, the woman who doesn't wait, the soul who doesn't apologize for the size of their calling. You build because you are born to, because your story is not meant to end with. Almost because your grandchildren will one day walk through doors you broke down. That's the legacy of the made-up mind. It outlives you. It becomes a blueprint, a signal, a fire passed from soul to soul across generations. Proof that resolve is more substantial than resistance, and that decision is more divine than luck. So walk forward now without hesitation, but with thunder in your chest. And every step you take, let it be a sermon. That doubt was loud, but you were more audible. That fear stood tall, but you stood taller. That the odds said no, but your decision screamed yes. This is not just motivation. This is a mandate to live with such conviction that compromise becomes foreign, to act with such courage that comfort becomes boring, to rise so relentlessly that excuses dare not approach you again. This is the vow. You will no longer wait for the world to change. You are the change. And every minute you breathe, every move you make, every word you speak will be drenched in decision. You are not hoping for power. You are not wishing for impact. You are the power. You are the impact. And the world will feel you, because now you are the storm, the fire, the mountain, the movement. You are the living proof that one made-up mind, one bold, unwavering, fully aligned human being can alter the course of history. So go, write the chapter, take the shot, climb the hill, shatter the limits, because now you are who you are always meant to be, unshaken, unstoppable, made up.